is number 31B. Our alternative sugar beer. Now, we're going to do this with a big asterisk. Basically, an alternative sugar beer can be any basic beer style with additional fermentable sugars added. Named in the BJCP are molasses and honey. So, start doing a bit of research. What do I want to do? Because you could kind of do anything and just add some extra sugars and there you go. There's a beer style. It's called Braggot. Basically a mead slash malt, so a grain honey combination mixed between beer and mead, Braggot. According to BJCP, Braggot is not allowed in this category, but the Braggot I made is going in here anyway because it's kind of boring otherwise. You know, you could. This is also a very dialed back Braggot. With an alternative sugar beer. Let's say, for example, honey is the alternative sugar, which is in this beer right now. Some honey aromas and flavors are acceptable to come through the base style of beer, but everything else is like base style of beer, base style of beer, base style of beer, base style of beer. So, the base style of this beer, kind of a nothing basic-y pale ale. I'll go through the recipe quickly. Recipe we've got here, pale malt Munich Crystal. So, I've brewed a couple of session beers using that basic combo of three malts. I've had very good results. We've got Hallertau, just for bitterness and a little bit of flavour. That does not come through at all. And the mead, it says on my notes I've got mead yeast, but I'm fairly sure I use an English ale yeast on this. So, English ale yeast, pretty sure. Secret ingredient here was 1.7 kilos of honey. Now, the interesting part about this beer, let me have a sip first. That is a brilliant clean tasting beer. What have we got? So this has actually been sitting in keg for a few months now as well. All my beers, we've kind of dialed back the drinking and everything a bit, and it's so we've got a lot more beer stacked up than we usually do. I said that you didn't get any of that Hallertau come through on the nose, but you do get the slightest little florally note. It's basically just a really clean, nothingy beer. The honey gives it this dialed back sweetness. If I didn't tell you it was honey in this, you'd go clean, nice beer. Something's different, but don't know what it is. Because you know it's honey, or because I know there's honey in here, I can taste honey. But I would say that to the average punter, this could just be a heavy-ish pale ale, you know, a real dialed back pale ale with some alcohol and some sweetness. So, to make this a Braggot, what I did was brew day, same as normal. Everything same as normal. Fermented it, same as normal. For secondary, we threw in 1.7 kilos of honey and this honeycomb stuff. The combination weight was 1.7 kilos. Drop the temperature to like 3 degrees and let the honey sit and get consumed by the beer. Maybe not 3 degrees just yet. Maybe we did like 10 or 11 degrees or something like that. Now the idea was that the honey, so we wanted the fermentation to complete, so the yeast was dead, gone. We wanted whatever yeast may be on the honey to eat some of that residual sugar, to ferment a little bit and to get a little bit funky kind of thing. The in Australia, they're called Stone Dog. They're brilliant, actually. They used a Belgian IPA or a Belgian Saison or something like that, and they secondary to, they made their braggot. Theirs was funky, sour, spicy, had all of these lovely combinations of flavours, whereas this doesn't. And that's, because made a couple of stinking beers like that have just had to be, literally tipped out on the grass there, and wanted some clean drinking, easy beers, and this is one. So the idea with the honey is to let some of the honey flavours and aromas get into the beer, ferment some out, like just the smallest bit, and to give that natural funkiness that can come from. And we don't really get that with this mead, or this braggot, sorry, but it's because of how cold. I'll probably secondary it. Now, I have a brew day video on this. We've got an hour and a half long podcast on this already. I'll put links to all of that stuff below. Have a listen, tell us what you think, tell us where it is when we've got everything wrong. Because again, we're learning. We're pretty happy to be told we're wrong at the moment. We're studying, trying to learn, trying to do all these lovely good things with beer and with good beer people. So and making good beer is the most important. So. Ended up being a fairly heavy beer. The recipe on this one gave us an ABV of 9.7%, IBU of 5.4, and an SRM of 8.9. Now, to memory, if my memory serves, this didn't get to 9.7%, and that's because we added the honey on the recipe calculator into the fermentable additions, but it didn't actually ferment out the whole lot of the honey because of where I put it in secondary. So it ended up being about 7 point something or 8%. I'll put the actual right there, what the actual percentage is, and it'll tell you that in the links with the brew day video and the podcast anyway. This is a seasonal. This isn't a one and done. I genuinely really like this, and look, it's very expensive beer to brew, just because of the honey. Like 2 kilos of honey roughly in this. That starts to add up. That's what's that? 30 odd bucks just in honey, for 21 litres of beer. It's a seasonal for me just because it's almost like a nightcap, this kind of beer. It's really clean, and it's got some really cool flavours. Like, you wouldn't have more than a pint though, in my opinion, just because it is an 8%. It is clean, but it's full. So I like it, but I couldn't sit here and drink pint after pint. Luke Hannaford, who's on here regularly, he'll drink the keg of this. He is a monster though, and he is able to do it. Depends how you do this beer as to whether or not it's for the crafty boys or the non-crafty. If you're going traditional down the line of what what are we? Alternative sugar beer is, give it to the non-crafty boys, because you can brew an international lager, some Coors or whatever, and throw in some honey and let that ferment out and have a really approachable beer. But like, if you're going to brew a braggot, probably not for the crafties. So look, depends what your base beer is for this particular style. And finally, I guess, what's it similar to? Depends what the base style is. I recommend go down the braggot path. Genuinely, like, this has been really interesting. There's a real cool history on braggots and what braggots are. Good luck finding them out there. You might have to go to a meadery instead of a brewery to get a braggot. But I don't know, honey, bees, it's cool stuff. So this is another one of their Homebrew Challenge beers. We are brewing all 120 styles as defined by the BJCP. 3 of us, but 4 of us, kind of, Simo helps out where he can. But myself, Duds, and Lukey, we're brewing 40 beers each. Simo filling in the gaps. Trying to learn everything that we possibly can about all of these beer styles. Some of these we're doing just because, Duds has brewed a wicked lambic for the price that he's brewed that and he's got on tap at his house, you know, it's 20, 30 bucks a bottle of that stuff. So some of the stuff we're doing for price, some of the stuff we're doing because, you know, it's interesting. Some of the stuff we're doing just because we have to, because I'll tell you right now, there is no chance of me brewing, you know, another ice bock like ever again. Like, I'll buy that. That's ridiculous. You know, that brewing process and procedure, so forget it. But yeah, look, really fun, really little cool process. All of the recipes going up, all of the videos. Try the recipe yourself, tell us what you think. Tell us we're idiots and tell us what we've done wrong. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. See you on the next one.